Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Jamaica and Rwanda signed 2 bilateral memorandums of understanding to formalize joint activities and lay the groundwork for deeper engagement.
I'm proud to advise that our government signed 2 bilateral memoranda of understanding aimed at formalizing joint activities and laying the groundwork for deeper engagement. We signed a memorandum of understanding on political consultations, which creates a formal structure for bilateral discussions and explores the potential for future collaboration. As we continue to engage, we now have a framework within which our substantive mechanisms can be implemented. We also signed a memorandum of understanding on tourism, development and promotion, which will enable our countries to share best practices and experiences, as well as to facilitate cooperation in related areas of mutual benefit.
The Prime Minister and I had a very productive meeting. We agreed that there is no better time for Rwanda and Jamaica to deepen our relationship. The agreement on political consultations that has been signed will facilitate this process with a framework to enhance collaboration in the key areas of mutual interest. We have also signed an agreement on tourism. This is a sector of strategic importance, which contributes heavily to our respective economies. As we recover from the COVID pandemic, we must learn from each other's experience and make this industry more resilient and rewarding to our citizens.
Police provide more details on fatal shooting in Denham Town. The police have provided more details on the shooting incident which led to the shooting death of a Denham Town resident, allegedly by a member of the security forces. He has been identified as Horin Glenn. The police say the incident happened about 6:20 p.m. on Charles Street in the Western Kingston community. As a policeman led 7 Jamaica Defence Force JDF soldiers on a foot patrol of the area. According to the police, they saw a group of 4 men who arose suspicion and requested to search them. While conducting their search, a woman, who they say was behaving boisterously, spot on members of the security forces, and shortly after, Glenn poured the contents of a beer bottle on one of the soldiers. The soldier attempted to accost Glenn, then say, but he ran into a yard along the street. He was pursued by the soldier, and the woman followed. The woman held onto the right arm of the soldier, the police recounted, and at the same time, Glenn attempted to disarm the JCF member of his M16 rifle. There was a struggle during which 4 rounds were discharged from the weapon, according to the cops. Glenn was struck in the abdomen. He was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital where he died. The incident sparked a furious protest by residents, which continued up to yesterday morning. They claimed the man was unjustifiably killed by the soldier. Government exploring rail technology in push to revive service. Jamaica is exploring new rail technology as it continues its push to revive the local railway service. Jamaica's first railway operations began in 1845 under the Jamaica Railway Company, which was a private entity. After decades of changing hands between private and public enterprise, the government became the sole proprietor of the railway in 19,000. Operating as Jamaica Government Railway, Jamaica's railway service was discontinued in 1992, except for the use by backside companies to transport products. In the search for cost-effective air and the land transport solution, Minister of Transport and Mining Ardley Shaw has said several options are being explored. He was speaking at the International Symposium on Railway Engineering held at the University of Technology UTech Jamaica recently. We are in the process of acquiring electric and biodiesel buses for public transport as a pilot project to ascertain benefits. This naturally brings into focus the importance of a well-functioning railway market because in order for a country to maximize on productivity and economic activity, people and goods must be able to move, he announced. Shaw said the impact of the re-implementation of the railway service is multi-sectoral and multidimensional, as it will not only solve the problem of vehicular congestion, particularly in urban areas, but it will also provide an economic inflow boosting the country's tourism product. A Memorandum of Understanding MOU between UTech and the University of Birmingham was also signed at the event. The MOU is intended to foster collaboration between the two institutions for the promotion of rail technology in Jamaica. This will be done through academic and industrial capacity building, knowledge transfer, and promotion of research activities. State Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Leslie Campbell said, through this MOU, a new Jamaica Center of Rail Innovation will be founded to facilitate new training and research programs on a range of railway topics. I commend both universities for recognizing the intrinsic value of Jamaica's railway infrastructure to Jamaica's national development plan, he stated, emphasizing the critical role of the diaspora in facilitating Jamaica's infrastructure development. He noted also that the government of Jamaica remains steadfast in its mandate to create an enabling environment for deepening engagement with the diaspora, as opportunities can be derived from this partnership. The Senator also disclosed that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade will be conducting a hybrid staging of the Jamaica 60 Diaspora Conference, June 14 to 16. The conference will provide for further discussions among participants that will include innovative ideas for national development. If you help breed mosquitoes, you could be in trouble. The St. Anne Health Department has served notice that prosecution is a possibility for residents who keep removing covers that health workers place over water containers to curb the breeding of mosquitoes. For now, health officials continue to educate the population. There have not been confirmed cases of dengue in the parish since the start of the year, and they're hoping to keep it that way. With the heat of summer providing ideal conditions for mosquito eggs to mature, health officials are urging residents to make every effort to rid their surroundings of breeding sites used by the insects. It is an often repeated request. We are likely to have increased mosquito breeding because most of the eggs that were laid by mosquitoes may not have matured in the cold condition. Chief Public Health Inspector for the parish, Leroy Scott, said during Thursday's monthly sitting of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation. Health officials have been covering water containers in an effort to prevent mosquitoes from breeding, but according to Scott, in most cases residents need to remove the lids. We have to try and educate persons so they can know the importance of keeping these containers closed. Otherwise, if they continue, they will have to be prosecuted, he said. The parish's medical officer of health, Dr. Tamara Henry, said, fogging is done, but stressed that this does not prevent breeding. I know the health department does fogging, but it only gets rid of the mosquitoes that are mature. We still have the ones that are going to turn adults. I want to ask persons to search and destroy mosquito breeding sites on their properties, she urged. The health team will be out there fogging too, but they can't be everywhere, so we ask that you take your health seriously, Henry added. Mosquito breeding sites can be destroyed by covering containers in which water is able to settle, keeping them dry, cleaning them regularly, filling them with soil, or putting holes in them. If individuals use mesh to cover containers, the holes of the mesh should be small enough to prevent mosquitoes from entering. 3 COVID-19 deaths, 35 new cases. 3 people have died from COVID-19, the Ministry of Health and Wellness reports. The deaths bring to 2,929 the number of fatalities from the disease in Jamaica since March 2020. Despite the deaths, the number being treated to the nation's hospitals remain low. There were 9 people in hospital up to yesterday. The ministry reports none were critically ill, 1 was considered moderately ill. Overall, there were 35 new cases of the disease with a positivity rate of 5%. Since March 2020, Jamaica has had 129,238 cases of COVID-19. St. Anne Municipal Corporation calls emergency meeting following Saturday's gridlock. The St. Anne Municipal Corporation has called an emergency meeting for 4 a.m. yesterday afternoon to discuss Saturday's traffic gridlock in Ocho Rios and several other parts of St. Anne, which lasted for several hours. The incident spanned Saturday evening into late Saturday night, reporters understand. Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell said following Saturday's gridlock, the police will have to revisit the issuing of party permits and also its strategies for dealing with traffic. There was a flood of complaints on social media last night by persons who had to spend several hours in a traffic jam between Ocho Rios and St. Anne's Bay as a party at the government-owned property Pearly Beach in the Duns River area hosted festivals of floats. However, Powell said Festival of Floats was not the only contributing event, as there were other activities in the area. There were many people visiting the parish on Saturday. All the beaches were filled. As you know, St. Anne is a place for holiday makers, so this is the first major holiday weekend since the opening of the country. The influx of people that came in on Saturday totally inundated what we had in terms of police, Powell stated. He continued, on good days, we're having challenges already. Saturday was an extraordinary one for us. Going into the rest of the holiday, we're revisiting our strategies as we're expecting some other major events to see how best we can avert situations like what happened on Saturday. Among the events set for St. Anne over the rest of the week are Sands set for Sunday, Racing the Dover Raceway, Igloo at Ocho Rios Bay, and Ocho Rios Carnival slated for Turkey River Park on Easter Monday. Andrew Allen, who was caught in traffic along the thoroughfare on Saturday, remarked that there was a lot of chaos and confusion as he tried to make his way off the highway at the Miami Bay roundabout on his journey from Kingston to Ocho Rios. He said after being stuck at the roundabout for approximately an hour, he went back on the highway and exited on Golden Grove, traveled through Colgate and Fern Gully, only to be confronted by another traffic heading towards Milford Road in Ocho Rios. General indiscipline of motorists was a major contributing factor. It was not just the taxi operators who were at fault. The police just could not cope, he pointed out. He described his experience as being mild compared to some others. A driver from Ocho Rios to St. Anne's Bay, which usually takes about 25 minutes or less, lasted up to 3.5 hours for some motorists. Several workers at some places of employment waited in vain for their assigned vehicle to pick them up and had to seek alternative transportation. Several others opted to walk for a long distance from Ocho Rios to Jocks Hall and even to St. Anne's Bay, reporters understand. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.